Okay, so I'm going to be doing a VOD review for Hellborn, a Gold 2 tank that plays Hog, Mauga, Ram, and Zarya. So you can go other tanks as needed. For starters, I would recommend picking 1 to 2 tanks that you really want to play, right? Especially if your goal is to improve and rank up, because it just eliminates inconsistency, right? Instead of like learning all the kits of all these characters and all their intricacies, you just pick one character to fundamentally, or 1 to 2 characters to fundamentally learn the game. I'd recommend picking like a mobile and an immobile character, right? And if you really wanted to, you could pick 3, like 1 for poke, dive, and brawl or something like that, right? If you're really so inclined, but I don't really think it's necessary. But having 4+ tanks you play is kind of a lot, right? You say you can play them, and like yes and no. I mean, you can play them at a gold level, I guess, right? But like if your goal is to improve, I would just focus on, like I said, 1 to maybe 3 tanks and just play those like all the time, right? Just pick your favorites. It doesn't really matter, right? Doesn't matter what the meta is, doesn't matter who's OP. Just pick your favorite and just roll with it, right? And it says here, you've been hovering in gold for a long time, right? And even after the rank reset, you're still gold. The rank reset was supposed to, I believe, knock everyone towards the center, right? So gold is kind of like the middle of the distribution of players. So if you're gold, you're still going to be gold more or less, right? I mean, yeah. So that's kind of that, right? So, anyways, I watched some of the replay right now. I think right now your primary problems are that your positioning needs some work, right? And this is kind of a vague thing, but it's kind of like you're not necessarily always positioning in a way where your team can like actually follow you in sometimes, right? And you're like sometimes like not taking the correct angle, right? I'll like showcase this, right? Especially in like high ground parts, like the second point, you pretty much always want to default high ground as tank, like literally every single time, right? Secondly, you need to use cover a lot better than you are right now. Right now, you're taking a lot of unnecessary spam by playing out in the open, and you'll literally take probably half the damage you are if you just play cover better, right? Just always play around natural cover so you have a method of stopping incoming damage like all the time. Especially on your like tank roster, a lot of your tanks are like pretty, they don't have shields, they don't have like good damage mitigation, like consistent damage mitigation, like Hog, Mauga, Queen, and Ramatra. Like you don't want to be blowing their damage mitigation a lot of time just to stay alive, right? For no reason. Thirdly, your cooldown usage needs some work, especially on Queen and Hog. You're not using your knife and your hook nearly enough, right? And on Queen particularly, you're just using your shout kind of like for no reason, right? That's kind of like your primary engage tool. There are kind of like 2 classes of cooldowns on tank, right? There's like cooldowns you can use all the time, right? Pretty much off cooldown, like hook, knife, and javelin, for example, which you pretty much want to be spamming, right? I mean, you literally just don't want to use it for no reason, but you want to be looking for opportunities to use it like as many times a game as possible. And there are other cooldowns you like don't want to use, like unless you need to use it to like get a hard engage or to live, and that's stuff like Arisa Fortify or Junker Queen Shot, right? Like you want to use these cooldowns at very important times where you actually have a clear person or like area to engage on, or if you don't use it, you'll die, right? And you're just kind of not like using your cooldowns in that way, right? So, anyways, on to the review. It's fine, right? I actually like this. Even a lot of high-ranked players don't do this. You see the Ramatra just burns both his cooldowns really early, and you're just literally not peeking him, right? Like, this is what you want to be doing, like, all the time, right? You see people use cooldowns, literally just don't peek, right? What are you going to do if you peek right now? You see, you just wait for these things to expire, and now he doesn't have them for all this time. This is why you just don't want to peek, right? It still shows his shield thing on the UI, but it's gone, right? It just literally expired right now. You see he doesn't have his vortex for another, like, what, 6 seconds? He doesn't have a shield for 10, right? And now you can do anything you want for, like, until he has his cooldowns again, right? This is actually really good fight. This is okay. One thing I would say, like positioning wise, right? Don't abandon your team quite yet. Right now, you can take a positioning here, right? Where you can farm this Ramacha, right? Just keep throwing knives at him, for example, right? Or if you need to, shout and like axe him in, like so you like help your team, whatever. But you're just kind of like leaving your back line. You have this habit of doing this a lot. When you're playing an immobile tank, you really don't want to be doing this, right? You need to like help your team move through, especially against brawl tanks. Otherwise, you run the risk of them just running over your team, especially when your team's in like these enclosed choke points, right? Um, like I'm sure you can see your Ana has no choice but to like back away, which leaves you without healing, right? This Ramacho literally just misses everything, which is kind of crazy. But what you should be doing, you already had a good positioning here, right? To just literally sit here so you can't get shot by anyone but the Ramatra and just like blow them up to force them away from your backline, right? Here, right? What you should be doing is saving shout until you're actually engaged, right? Like right now, it seems like a small distinction, right? But you can already shoot this guy right now. Like you should be shooting the Junkrat or the Mercy or the Cass. I think he's probably the worst target here, or the Juno, another bad target. Like the Junk and Mercy are much better. But just shoot them, and once they actually react to you, then you pop shout to actually chase them. Right? And I will say, right, you also have your knife, right? You should be throwing your knife just to get value from it, right? If you miss it, especially on Queen, right? If you miss knife, it's not the end of the world. And that also goes for Orisa. Like, they're almost free cooldowns, right? They're, like, super valuable if you hit them, but if you miss them, there's still a lot of other stuff you can do, right? Recover usage thing here, right? And since you blew your shout, it's also super important, right? Because if they just damage dump you, you cannot survive, right? Because you just don't have your shout to get the overhealth and the movement speed, right? What I'd be doing instead is when you kill the junk, right? Literally just play here, right? You still do something. You can still shoot the Ramacha, right? You can still jiggle peek the cast, and you still deny the Mercy from getting the junk res, right? There's no reason to just be running in right now and just wasting all your resources, right? Especially if your team can't swing with you. And I will say the Mercy gets the res off because you're just aggressing when you have no cooldowns, and you just let her fly in because you're just too weak to contest her, right? If you literally just play that a bit slower and realize that since you're low on cooldowns, you cannot aggress. And that's kind of the name of the game on Overwatch, right? When you're low on cooldowns, you have to play safe and wait for people to like peek you and make a mistake. If you have cooldowns, that's the position where you go in. This is good. Yep. Nice. This is okay, right? Juno's kind of hard to hit. This guy's perfectly fine. Just run behind him. In the future, right? You should be trying to run behind him. Especially when you're not killable. Just because he can't block two directions at one time, right? Okay, yep. That's right there is why you don't want to use shout, right? I mean, you could say, like, you should have scouted the trap better, scouted the junk better. I mean, yes, but I'm sure you can see this right here. If you didn't have shout, you just would have exploded, right? And that's why that's a cooldown you just don't want to waste randomly. I just don't want to waste time like nitpicking this stuff, right? If it's a like consistent habit where you're like wasting, like, sorry, give me 1 second here. Where you're consistently like getting trapped by junk, yeah, it's something I'll be worrying about. Here, this is a position where like maybe you have to be a bit more passive, right? Because you don't have your shout, and you also had an opportunity to play this cover right here, right? Let me go a little further back. A little too far. Play this cover right here, wait for your knife, and try to knife him like right now, right? This is fine, right? Small distinction in Queen, if you have the opportunity to shoot someone to kill them, take that opportunity, right? Because shooting has literally no startup, right? You see when you like wind up your axe, there's a second or two where you're not doing anything. And like your shotgun, especially if you hit headshots, which you should be able to do on a sleeping cast, right? It's gonna do more damage anyways, right? You don't need, the thing is you don't need self-sustain if you just kill people, right? Not to say it's like a troll, but it's something like a small optimization to keep in mind. This is fine. I'll be potentially looking to ult right now. They just got their DPS spawners back. Now you can see, right? you have 3 people lined up right now, and if you ult them all, they're just gonna die, right? And it's like a free fight win for your team. You can see by the positioning of the cart. By the time the enemy team's able to come back, the cart will be like right around here, right? And chances are like you can still get the staggers. Okay, good kill. Right, you have knife here. Unfortunate miss. That's okay. I mean, there are obviously a lot of things you could have done better there, right? Big cover usage thing, right? When you kill the Juno, don't keep walking in. Play your effective range, right? Your effective range is longer than Ramatra's, just so you don't take so much damage, right? I think that ult would have been also very good. Like, I'm sure you can see that, like, right here. Right, you kind of did this right earlier, right? When this guy wastes his shield really early, just let him waste his shield and just hard push afterwards. This is fine, right? Your blade's in, your Genji's in, so. I was saying in these situations, if you find yourself missing your like hooks and knives a lot, it's okay to slow down, right? Like, no one's shooting you, right? 3 people on their team or 2 people on their team were dead. So just feel free to take your time in these positions, right? These should be like, in principle, the easiest time to hit stuff. So. I think having 3 in card here is fine. Or cap it out as soon as possible. Nothing you can really do about that. Here you should be walking left, and I say that literally because your spawn's right here, right? You're invincible if you walk behind these yellow walls, right? You just literally can't take damage, right? So if your team dies, so be it, it'll be back in 10 seconds, right? You just don't want to die yourself, right? Completely avoidable death there, right? Not the end of the world. Back up just a little bit. Okay. Again, this death isn't the end of the world, right? Because your spawn's right here, but you definitely could have lived that. Okay, nice. Good. Unfortunate, you really shouldn't be the one in card here, but it is what it is sometimes, right? I would say when someone else in your team comes back for card, I'd be looking to get off of it. This is stuff right here you want to punish, right? Like this Junkrat is clearly overextended. Because you see how far away his tank is, right? And you also just killed, I think, their Sombra or something. So like his team is not with him, or I guess yeah, their Mercy that's just swapped to Moira. So like if you have the opportunity, just knife him, pull him into your team, and insta kill him right now, right? Yeah. So you still can do it, right? No reason not to be shooting. Here against Mauga, you see when he's like shouting, right? When he's like this yellow aura around him, you should be doing your best to like jiggle peek him so he can't farm you, right? When he uses this ability, he wants to farm the tank, generally speaking. He can farm like the squishies too when he's close, but you're like the most consistent target to get full lifesteal off of, right? So like you want to make it really hard for him to like get healing, just by making yourself as hard to hit as possible by playing your cover. Okay, 2 of your teammates are dead, right? Whatever. Happens sometimes. This is risky because if this guy Mauga charges on you, right? You're still down 2 players. He could definitely like kill you. Again, you have your knife. Okay, pretty good ult, right? I will say, right? The junk is right here. I'm sure you saw him, or maybe you didn't. You should be targeting this junk first and foremost, right? When the junk's dead, turn for the Juno, and then kill the Mauga, right? The Mauga was still like high HP when he got purpled, so like he's kind of the least killable target, and you know he's gonna have both his cooldowns. Kind of unfortunate, right? I mean, kind of also miss a bit, right? But I'm sure you can see like the junk was just a way easier kill target there. Once you kill the junk, right, you can either turn for the Juno or turn for the Mauga, right? Should have just walked further to the left there. Say this is a big cover usage on Hog. It's super important because you're huge. Like people are not going to miss you. Instead of further walking back here, literally just stand here so you can't get shot. Like I'm sure you can see, like who's gonna shoot you except the Sombra right now. But you see when you walk out here, you make it really easy for the Moira to hit you. You make it really easy for the Junk to spam you, and the Sombra can still hit you too, right? And like you're still able to get healed the same in both positions, right? So you're not gaining anything by not playing cover. A little slow to react there. It's okay. You still force your fade, and I'll say this on Hog, right? Even when you miss hook sometimes, you still get value, right? You still force out cooldowns, and you still accomplish something. So like I wouldn't worry too much about that. Cancel. Again, right? If you don't have to jump in the open, don't do it, right? I mean, you're reloading right now, so this seems like really dumb, but you literally can't shoot, so you have no reason to be wide peeking in the middle of their entire team. Literally just stand here so you can't get shot and just reload, so like when he overextends, you just blow him up, right? It sounds really stupid, but like that's literally all you have to do. Another small optimization on Hog, right? When tanks are close, do not hook them unless you're guaranteed to one-shot them, right? Or you're trying to block an important cooldown, like if they have a lot of mobility, hook them to predict or like deny their mobility, so yeah, they cancel and just get killed afterwards, right? You shouldn't be missing tanks at close range. If you want to get like really good at Hog, you just have to trust your mechanics at like close range, just blow them up without hook. So you can like kill them without using hook, or hook them when they're about to use a cooldown, or hook them when they're like actually one-shottable. So like you get that full damage shot and just like pretty much kill through healing. Or you don't even have to use it and just kill someone else, right? It's okay to like extend past the Mauga if he runs by you, right? And try to chase their backline. But once you miss the hook, you gotta turn around and help your team, right? This is kind of the same mistake you made on first, right? You don't want to let this guy on Hog take this fight. You kind of already did the hard work of forcing the supports away. You can, for example, literally just stand like here or something like that, or just here. You know, it doesn't really matter exactly where you stand at this point right now because this guy's like clearly overextending, right? He's in the middle of your entire team. You just have to like help your team walk through. Once you miss your hook, it's just unlikely to kill you. Gross, good shots here. The problem with this is even if you get these picks, now you're in the middle of their entire team instead of like isolating this guy that was in the middle of your entire team, right? Hog is like actually a poke tank, not a brawl tank, and you can see in this replay here, if you just run in with it, you're gonna die, right? You get picks, those get spawners, chase you down because you have no mobility, you're not very tanky. Again, cover usage. Hog, if you don't have hook, do not wide peek, right? When you have hook, you want to be the one wide peeking because your range is like absurdly long, right? If you hook, you can hit someone like all the way over here, right? 20 meters is really long, and you can catch people off guard all the time, right? And this is why I say Hog is a poke tank. You just hook these really long engagements, right? When you have hook, and just like insta-kill someone from across the map. But when you don't have hook, you gotta play slow and just like not peek these wide angles, right? So you don't get damage dumped, right? Your damage is too inconsistent from range. If instead of walking out here, what if instead you just played here, right? You have cover here and just walk out this way and look how close you are to the Sombra now, right? Or if you're getting too weak from the Sombra, you just literally walk back here and now you can't get shot at all, right? And these are like a lot of options you have to consider cover usage-wise. So you're just like getting blown up for no reason. Now just get killed by the tire because you let yourself take all that unnecessary damage, right? I really should change the increment of the pass forward. It's okay though. Okay, yeah, whatever. It happens sometimes. When you're playing Hog, right? Throw a trap down every time you peek like a corner, you know people are around, right? Like this is like very obvious. Just throw a trap where they can't easily destroy it and just hook someone, right? Just, I mean, obviously, ideally, you should be hooking someone on the back line. For example, this Junk and Juno are both hookable right now. But even the Mauga, you're still getting value, right? You're still forcing him to use his thing to run away. Or he stays in and he gets naded by your Ana and just dies, right? Okay, that's okay. You can't hit everything. Again, right, you do not want to be walking in, right? With Hog, what you see, you're just taking all this damage, and you're just not killing anyone when you just walk in like this, right? What you should be doing instead is literally playing here, peeking wide when you have Hook, right? And hooking, for example, the Junkrat right now, or hooking the Mauga into your team. Ideally, again, the Junk, but it doesn't exactly matter, right? I mean, definitely the Junk in this situation is more killable, because I'm sure you can see, because you're like continuing walking into him, you just explode, right? Like, Hog is a lot more frail than you think he is. Fast forward here, right? And part of that's positioning, right? You're just positioning yourself in that middle of the enemy team. And part of it's also cover usage, right? You're not playing cover and you just explode, right? I would say in the future, don't be afraid to flank his hog, right? You're setting up an alpha angle here, so like you can run into the Sombra, just get an insta pick, and just force this angle here for your team. So either they all have to run for you, and like that allows your team literally just to run into here for free, or they send 1 or 2 people after you, in which case they like get like killed by you, right? Because you're just like the champion of 1v1s. And obviously if their tank pushes you, just run away, right? Especially because you have your perk now. So it's fine. There's still a trap there. In the future against Mauga, when he uses his shout, he's actually like not killable unless he's already low. What you should be doing is looking to like blow up the cage instead of the Mauga instead, right? Because the cage has 1,000 HP and you can't miss it, and it can't get healed too, right? So if you just break the cage and make it like so your supports can heal you and you can just run away from them, it's more valuable, right? Yep, this is a good opportunity to go for a hook, right? Nice, very good. Fortunate, you miss up your mechanics. I will say if you play Hog a lot, I'm actually like very well. Hog is probably my best hero, and I do have a Hog mechanics guide on this channel. You have to look for it. It's one of my older videos, and it kind of goes through all like the exact specifics of how you want to use Hook and where you want to position your crosshair. I can tell you right now, you're not like positioning your crosshair centered appropriately on these like squishies when you hook them. So just something to keep in mind. Right? You'll lose a lot of kills if you continue to rank up and play Hog by not like aiming appropriately. Right. Okay. Yep. You're not gonna hit everything as Hog, right? Don't worry about it. Your aim will get better with time. The primary problem here, though, as you saw their Mauga was back, and instead of like tailing it, playing near cover, right? You were just playing in the open, right? Literally, like you lose nothing from playing here, right? But you lose a lot from just getting damage jumped by their entire team by playing here, right? Okay, they have like 3 ults, you guys have 1, so not the end of the world, right? You can't win every single fight, especially when they have like 3 ults. It's hard to do anything.
Thanks.
1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective.
I'm personally not a fan of holding up here. If you can get away with it in your games, I'd go for it. I think generally speaking, as tank, especially when you're immobile, you want to be playing the point just because it's way stronger, right? You have like these 2 lanes of damage pressure, where it's very easy to like track people as they come in. It's very easy to punish people around these corners. Or if you're up here, right, there's a lot of people that can like flank from this building here and cause a lot of problems for you, right? And if you get low on cooldowns, right, you see you have like these really long sight lines you have to run away to, which makes you really easy to catch. Just something to keep in mind for the future. I don't think it's like the worst thing ever to play here. It's just something to keep in mind for right, again, cover usage thing. Let me show you from this Orisa's perspective what you look like here, right? I hope this like maybe elucidates stuff like for you, right? Like shooting her from now is okay, right? You see her just walking in the open here and just letting her farm damage on you really easily. But let me rewind to your POV again. You're trying to shoot the Moira, but like what instead if you literally just stood here, right? Your angle is unironically actually better if you literally just don't move and just shoot her from here. And now you can't get shot by literally anyone, right? I mean, I guess the Tracer can shoot you if you want, right? And if you literally just by standing here, right? You force the Orisa, if she wants to shoot you, to walk all the way like here-ish, which I'm sure you can see puts her in the LOS of your entire team, right? Just imagine your Moira and Kiri peak a bit, right? Yeah, that's kind of what you want to be looking to force on tank. Kind of why I don't like playing here. On Orisa, when you use your E, you want to be looking for it to have no gold, no spin, right? Because she can like ignore a lot of your value on you just by how she gets, right? As you can see, now you don't have your most important cooldown, which allows them to kind of push you. Against squishies, you want to only be using your left gun, right? Left gun to light them on fire, and then your right gun afterwards to like crit them. When you use both, I'm sure you can see your spread is like huge, right? On my like HUD. On Mauga, I just like hard focus tank like 99% of the time. When they have like very mobile people, just don't even bother going for them because like one, they're hard to hit, and two, they can just easily break your LOS and like just make you run all across the map. Here, actually, like I think your target priority has been pretty good all game, but there is actually a Juno. I'm sure you can see she's still very weak. If you just shot the Juno instead of the tank, you actually would have probably killed her there. So. I probably would not be doing that without your shell. You can see, like, you do that, they die. There are a lot of other prompts you made, like, right, we weren't playing cover there, right, we weren't managing your ammo. But the big things, I think, is just that, like, you were just kind of wasting time chasing people and not holding in a great position. Right?
We will crush them. Objective lost.
You're right, positioning, right? Just default on high ground every time. Because if you don't want to play high ground, like let's say literally no one pushes high ground, they all like rotate all the way over here so you can't shoot them. At the very least, you can, or at the very worst, you just drop down, right, and help your team. But at best case scenario, you just sit up here, right, and you just, oh, look, a Junkrat's here, you take the 1v1 against a Junkrat and just kill him, right? You don't have the ability to easily access high ground, especially on like the tanks you're playing, once you just default over them. Again, big problem here, cover usage, right? Kind of cover usage positioning thing, just hold the corner. Literally just stand here and just beam them, right? I mean, you can like play your effective range a bit better by backing up a bit more beyond the corner, right? But that's kind of what you want to be doing, right? There's no reason to be in the open and just take all this unnecessary damage. I mean, I guess you have to do it sometimes as Zarya to get charged in the first place. You see you're just taking a ton of damage here because you're not playing your stuff, right? And now, you see no bubbles, they get a slight part. This happened literally just because you were not taking cover, right? I can nitpick like your bubble usage here, which yeah, they weren't the best, but the primary issue is that you were not playing cover there, right?
Thought they could keep me down.
I really should fast forward here. Okay. Just shooting the tank's fine, right? If you have like the opportunity to shoot the tank or right click across the map, just shoot the tank, right? Maybe you force their cooldowns, right? But like shooting right clicks across the map is a problem because one, they're inconsistent, and two, your team literally can't help, right? Your team doesn't have a very good angle on these people, right? But if you just shoot the Orisa at this position, you have a much higher chance of just making her go away. Risky to do this stuff, right? You should have gotten blown up there, right? I say that because you just literally walked in the middle of their entire team. Zarya, like Hog, is actually more of a poke tank when you need to be poking these rotations and rotating a lot to like build your charge, and then go in when you have high charge and bubbles, right? Otherwise, you just play slow and play your corner. Yeah, this is fine. Good. I will say I also have recently uploaded like Zarya guide, right? And I think my benefit of like seeing how I play my positioning and my spacing and like my bubbles to get charged and like how I engage fights. Just watch like a round of it and it might help you, right? Obviously you don't have to like do any of this stuff, it's just recommendations. Okay, good, right? That's kind of what you want to do, right? When you have the opportunity to just get early charge, just to keep your charge really high, right? You'll have another bubble by the time they come in. So you're just unpunishable right now because you can see when they push here, right? You see your entire team's here to back you up, right? Like, I don't know what I don't know who that is. Mauga is doing on the floor, but you see literally when they walk in through this choke point, they're peeking 4 people at like 3 different angles, effectively, right? And you're just unpunishable when you do bubbles like that, and they just peek and they just get blown up. Okay, good. I saw swap targets. I think that bubble's okay, right? I would not risk that for sure. Again, right, if you have a better target, you could already shoot this Mauga, right? No reason to keep walking into him, just shoot him. No reason to back up here, right? I don't know if you noticed, the Juno just flew in. You just shoot her away and then just turn your attention on the Mauga, right? Just forget the objective. Literally no one's on it, and you just killed the only person on their team that can even like get to the objective for free at this position, right? You just killed the tracer. Here, right, you had a lot of opportunities to shoot Mauga, right? Just literally shoot him right now, right? No reason to just let him sit here for free. If the Junkrat's gonna sit in the middle here forever and just not shoot, just let him do that, right? Just shoot someone else so you force someone to heal him, right? Not a fan of this grab, because you had no clue the Juno would get locked into it, right? If you want to solo ult the Juno, that's 100% okay, but you should not be looking to solo ult the tank when he's fully charged. Good. Let me rewind this. I will say here, when you're walking through here, this is a position where you could potentially flank grab him, right? If you grab right here, you grab the junk, just insta-kill him, and you also hit the Juno, insta-kill her, right? But I'll let this replay. Again, cover usage thing, right? You see this Mauga is shouting. Just literally walk here, right? It's 100% safe. No one can hit you right now, right? If the Mauga wants to hit you, right, he has to stop shooting your team, and he has to peek like this, which puts him in the LOS of your entire team, right? And if he like continues shooting your team, no problem. Like that's just pressure off of you, and you just beam him down. Unfortunate timing, right? He was reloading. I can nitpick that and tell you to watch his ammo better, but it's okay. Pretty good fight, but I'm sure you can imagine, right? If you played just slightly better there, that wouldn't have even been close. Okay, whatever. Didn't need that bubble, but it's not the end of the world. Here, just go high. Go high. Your team's occupying the tracer, which is like their best option of touching card, right? Okay, yep, push this guy. Good. Unfortunate. Should check for that trap. I'd be rotating to your Farah to see if she's eating a lot of damage here, just to like help her bubble to disengage. Yep, this is good. Retaking high. I'd say high ground, right? A good thing about going high ground is you can completely ignore their tank and just insta-kill their backline, right? Like, let's say like instead of like mirroring their tank, you just walk right here. What's this Juno gonna do right now, right? You just kill this Juno, and you just like, for example, drop on the Moira afterwards and force her away, right? Just by shooting her, and now you just turn on the Mauga and just like kill him in the 5v1, right? This is also okay. I will say if Moira was on your right side of the entire team, she's way easier to kill than Mauga, right? This guy can just get double tanked, you effectively do no damage. Right, I would say here, your primary problem is that your positioning is just too close, right? You're just kind of like fighting the brawl fight against these brawl characters like Mauga when you really want to be playing your range and just not letting him get close so you can easily farm you, right? Part of it's your positioning, like just too close, and part of it is just you're not playing natural cover, right? That's okay though. I think that was a pretty decent hold. Do you end up winning this game? Guys, imagine you. I'm not gonna rewind that. Just force the tracer away. This is fine. So once you use both your bubbles, you gotta run, right? You're just killable, even though you're high charge when you use both bubbles. Like if this Bastion pops turret, you're just gonna die. Okay, actually really good grab. Nice job. Unfortunately, you guys kind of over-ulted that fight, but that's okay. Whatever. It happens sometimes, right? You can't control your teammates.
The best to ever do it. Greetings.
Good stagger. Here, don't bubble against alone Winston. He like gives you so little charge, and you need to stop firing at any time, right? What you should be doing instead, for example, is walking out here, taking some damage, right? And it's once you like start taking damage, bubble when you walk away, and you'll just get a ton more charge. Yep. You see how long Zarya's range is, right? You're sitting like pretty far away, and you're consistently hitting this Winston. That's generally speaking what you want to be doing on Zarya. Like that's okay, right? Keeping your charge high, pushing the right people. Probably didn't need a bubble there though, so it doesn't really matter. Except that their tank's gonna be back like right now, which is kind of problematic, but. Here in this position, when Bastion ults, what you should be doing is like walking here so you don't get hit by anyone, right? Looking to bubble yourself or your teammates, right? Just take as little damage and as little attention from your team as possible. Because if you take this aggressive fight right now when the Bastion's ulting, he can literally shoot you instead, right? Again, you're playing this corner really, really close. No reason to be so close. Low on bubbles, do not push, right? Not only are some players in your team dead, but you have no bubbles, right? It's kind of like a fundamental thing. Do not aggress when you don't have cooldowns. Just literally wait to get healed, wait for your cooldowns to come back online, and then you push it. That's okay, right? It's kind of low. Again, no reason to be peeking right now. You don't have your bubble. Play right here, right? I mean, I guess the Bastion's right here right now, but you could have marked his rotation to begin with and just burn him down the first place. No reason to bubble or beat the shot. When Zarya is already high charge, just keep shooting. It doesn't matter. You just burn through it. Nice. Like, this is pretty good here, right? I would say when you're like playing Zarya and you have or like 1v1ing a squishy you know is in range, feel free to push them if you're high HP, even with 0 bubbles, right? You know it's a 1v1 just because they literally can't kill you. Good, nice, very good. Right, just don't feel afraid to play cover, right? You get the pick on the Moira with your ult, that's literally all the value you need to get. Once you get that pick, literally just turn away because this guy's in turret form, right? This is kind of what you're doing at the beginning of the game when Ramacho had used his shield, right? Just give this guy no value, literally just by not letting him peek you, right? And if he overextends, just shoot him. Regardless, good, right? You're occupying the entire team. Yep, stuff. Okay, so in conclusion, right? I'd say your positioning again needs some work. Right? You want to be positioning like in these situations where you can help your team walk in, especially when you're playing like these immobile tanks, right? And position yourself so you force like engagements, one-on-one engagements at the very worst, but also like these engagements where your team can help you, but you can't get shot by anyone else, right? Secondly, right, your cooldowns need work, right? You want to be using stuff like knife and hook like as often as possible, right? You get a lot of downtime on these abilities, right? And you generally speaking do not want to be pushing without like your very important cooldowns, right? Like Queen Shout or like multiple bubbles on Zarya, stuff like that. And thirdly, your cover usage needs some work, right? I'm sure I showed you multiple instances where you're just playing in the open, take too much damage and immediately die afterwards, right? I hope this helps.